back today. So I did previous a previous video on birthright citizenship, and I also did one on basically how, you know, a lot of people who disagree with it give a knee-jerk reaction, and they essentially just don't believe what I'm saying, okay? So after I did the video, I get these comments like, well, where did you go to law school? And you don't understand birthright citizenship. And then I get these definitions. They pull these, what they believe to be what defines birthright citizenship from parts of the Constitution, completely ignoring the law. So I thought I would address that and make it a little clearer so it's understood. And also, I find it interesting that a lot of these people who essentially argue that people born in the US are not US citizens, they are just repeating the arguments that they have heard other, which we'll call right wingers, state. They don't look at the law themselves. They don't look and research what it is for themselves. They take merely on face value what these other people are saying, and they incorporate it as though it is their own knowledge, that they've done the research and that they are an expert on the matter without ever reading a single thing of which they're claiming is birthright citizenship. I find that amazing. I think, just as an aside, if people would just look at the law, would just research a little bit of what they're claiming they're experts on, they would find that what they are saying is clearly not true. And I'm trying to open-mindedly instruct and advise and let them know why what they're saying is absolute baloney. Okay? Birthright citizenship comes down to the 14th Amendment. I urge anybody who is going to respond to this and say, no, that's not it. You've got it all wrong, blah, blah, blah. I urge you to read the 14th Amendment. It is unambiguous, it is crystal clear, and it makes 100% clarification that people born in the U.S. are U.S. citizens. It doesn't matter where their parents are from. It doesn't matter where their grandparents are from. It doesn't matter what the color of their skin was. It doesn't matter any of that. If they are born in the U.S., they are U.S. citizens. Now, in conjunction with that, a person who's pregnant, a woman who's pregnant, can come in the U.S. when she's 9 months pregnant, have a child, and then leave the U.S. the day after with the child, and the child's a U.S. citizen. There's no dispute about that. There is Supreme Court cases. I mean, these people who want to cite the law to me, they do everything except look at the real cases and the real law, okay? Supreme Court cases as far back as the 1800s has confirmed and verified the 14th Amendment and what allows people to be U.S. citizens. So when I'm saying that the Supreme Court of the U.S. is now going to take up this case, there's just no realistic legal argument that they can make that it's going to depend on where the parents were born, or it's going to depend on the parent status, or it's going to depend on the color of the skin, or that the president has the authority to issue such an executive order, which is people whose parents are not US citizens, born in the US, are not US citizens. And the only way that the Supreme Court of the United States is going to make such a ruling is if they pretend the law exists and they make the law up, just like they did with presidential immunity. There was absolutely no prior case law, no statutes, no regulations, nothing, which said the president is above the law, like their ruling made him above the law. That's the only thing I can think of. So if the Supreme Court takes the case and rules the president has authority to do this, I guarantee you, when the makeup of the Supreme Court changes, which it will, they will revoke in its entirety a ruling that people that are born in the US are not US citizens. It will be revoked. Okay. I mean, if I hadn't seen some of the prior rulings of this US Supreme Court, I would not even fathom that a court would take this case. But I have seen them. I have read it, and I've read it. I'm not just talking about what I hear. I've read them, and so forth. So I know I'm going to get the same comments again. I know that people are going to claim that what I'm saying is not true, but it is. It's the law. I won't use my 33 years of being an immigration attorney as a backdrop for it, but it's the law. All right. Okay. Everybody have a good day. Oh, and this is my last Substack of the year. So everybody have a good and healthy new year. I wish the best for all of you. All right.